Welcome everybody. Music Portland first Monday. I don't know how many of you saw it, but Maliki put in an Instagram post that had pictures of us from last year all together and, living the dream. And it was really, it was a little bittersweet because I miss being in situ with people and, running into folks. And so that's the reason that after this, we have, as close as we can get and safe distance, we have breakout sessions that Austin will lead everybody into as we finish our talk. And that's just the time where anything you're hearing in what I say in updates from Music Portland or what Matt Randall is going to be talking about, the point is to then huddle up and hang out with each other and meet with groups you don't know and chat about that or anything else you want. It's really just about keeping us connected. But I do think there are a lot of really cool issues to talk about. So before Matt comes on and tells us about his incredibly cool project, I'm going to do, as I often do, a fairly speedball run through the stuff that's happening at Music Portland, and it is a lot. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat, and Austin will pass them through to me, or we'll put them into a discussion topic for the breakout. So first off, government benefits. Do we have, oh, there isn't a post there. Austin, you can post the poll if you created it. So the Oregon Employment Department created a new online system. Hopefully you saw it in your last newsletter, because creating this online system means that you have to re-enter all of your weeklies that you've yet to be paid for. And if you have not been paid yet for any PUA, then what they want you to do, if you've never heard from them about it, like we're reviewing this, then you should also load that. So if there are people that have specific questions, oh, I'm liking the way it's looking, well, it's only one person. Yeah, let me know what's happening for people, because I don't want to belabor things if everybody's already got their stuff. The OED has committed publicly with this new online system that all PUA benefits will be distributed by August 8th. So in what, 6 days, something like that? Everybody is supposed to be paid. So I'm eager to see from this poll, as it keeps on rattling, who's still waiting. I'm loving that people didn't just immediately flood the I'm still waiting thing, but it would be really interesting to know. So we're going to leave that guy running for a little bit. The end of the PUC, one of the things I'd love to hear people kind of dive into a little bit is with the end of the $600 weekly bump, what are people's plans? How are they going to make it? How dire is that loss? The nice thing is, for the people that have been waiting for 4 months to get their PUA benefits and they're only getting them now, they're going to get a nice big chunk. They're going to be in good shape for a little bit. So yeah, keep in touch. Let us know what's going on for you. And that's it. And then if you have any questions, I'll be in the breakout too. So I'm happy to talk about it. Any questions from the peanut gallery there, Austin?
No, they're not. That's
okay,
time.
Cool. Then we're going to move on to a super cool thing. It's Portland Hip Hop Week coming up starting on August 21st. So Portland Hip Hop, the whole community, it's OG1. It was started by Star Child and OG1. And its mission is specifically to highlight and strengthen the rich culture of hip hop through entertainment, education, and community building. They do work and shows all year long, but Hip Hop Week is kind of that's the big one. There are events that happen throughout the week starting on August 21st, and they end with an award ceremony for their Star Award winners on August 26th. That is just so incredibly cool. Lots of people on this: Lori Hughes, Jennifer Caprizzo, DJ Cliff, Mike Capes, X-Ray FM, K-Boo, Mighty, Trevon Mary, P-Town Media, Northwest Breakout Show, Diana Harikiv, I'm saying that wrong, I won't try again, Samuel Thompson, Monique Taylor, Kenneth Scott, Anthony Sanchez, and Alexander Wright. And we are incredibly proud to know a number of those, and many of them are on our are participating in Music Portland as advisory council, as board members. So congratulations to everybody. And it's a really exciting week coming up. So you can go on, I think Austin's going to post a link to the Facebook page for PDX Hip Hop Day and Hip Hop Week so that you guys can keep track of all the things that are going on. All right. I only have like 1 and 2 people answering the benefits poll. So I'm going to, I guess we'll leave it going. We'll check back in at the end. Just saying whether you did or didn't is really useful to know. Now, let's see. The next topic on the docket is special election is coming up. The deadline to vote is August 11th, which is a week away. It feels like a weird thing, kind of in the middle of nowhere, to suddenly have a special election, but it really matters because we are filling one of 5 seats on City Council. So this is filling the seat that Nick Fish passed away and is not able to provide anymore. And that's a big loss to the arts and music community. So it's really important who we get in there. We want to make sure that they are champions and active and clear supporters of all of the equity transformation that I think is happening in the town that's incredibly hopeful. There are 2 candidates. There's Dan Ryan and Loretta Smith. And we did a forum that was an online, conversation with them. And the link, Austin will post the link in the chat if you want to go at some point and check that out. One of the things that's interesting about that is Music Portland reached out to establish a creative coalition, kind of a cultural team, because the city talks about arts and culture, and that absolutely does not include popular music. It's just like it's nonprofits, it's classical, it's traditional arts, and it is key for us to position ourselves with them as cultural allies. As we're all in the creative space, but we are all different. And by acknowledging that we are the same this way, but that we have different needs in terms of policy and support and things like that, and funding opportunities, we will get further faster. So we've really enjoyed working with RAC, the OMPA, and we've had a long established, very fruitful cooperation with the amazing Musicians Union and their group Fair Trade Music that continues to fight for fair compensation for musicians. All right, and I'm gonna move that PUA poll really doesn't want to leave. Okay, so check out the forum, the candidate forum. Be an informed voter. The most important thing is that you vote. Do not fail to vote. Consider it a practice run for November when everybody has to vote. But it's equally important to make sure that people that we have, whoever you vote, the people we have representing us in City Council is directly going to impact how successful you can be through recovery and beyond in the local music scene. So definitely be an informed voter, watch ours, watch any other of the online debates, and make an informed choice. Venues, lots been going on with venues. Venues were awarded the state fund, the IVC, and I know many of you wrote in and asked the state leaders to protect the venues as infrastructure on which our entire ecology is based. They did get their funding. There's some hoops still that they're jumping through, just processing hoops. But it's all incredibly hopeful. And again, first time in history that kind of funding has happened. Music Portland naturally spent a lot of our energy working with City Council and with local efforts to advocate. So I am now representing Music Portland on the small panel that is finalizing eligibility application questions and other things to distribute the $2.5 million that the city allocated from the federal CARES Relief Fund. We've added some amazing voices into it. We've got Rashid Jamal and Catherine Paul, who are both BIPOC artists who understand the ecology, to make sure that there's nothing embedded that is, has implicit bias or supremacy or privilege or any of the things that an all-white panel would normally bring to the project, despite best intentions. So you'll be hearing more about that, but that's happening really fast. There's also, artists should be aware, there is also $500,000 that was allocated from the city fund specifically for BIPOC artists. So I am working to make sure that the application process is not the same old rack application, because it really, if I was a popular musician, artist, performer, the way that they ask questions are definitely, you're a symphony and you're going to work for 6 months writing a symphony, and then you're going to have one big performance. And it just, there's so many things about it that I think if I was applying, I would go, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. So I'm making sure that they consider or even create a special grant application for popular music that really speaks to that. And that will be coming out soon. This is all happening over the next couple of weeks. It's really a big project. We have events coming up. MusicPortland hosts an ongoing series, not only our First Mondays, which, by the way, I would love to hear people's ideas about First Monday programming. We're sort of cultivating some things around protest songs. What are the protest songs through history in every genre? We want to have genre conversations between people of different genres, talking about what motivates them and what makes them the same, and how are we all one big creative soup. So let us know at info@musicportland.org if you're interested, or just come in through the website. And if you have a brilliant idea of people we should have on to speak, or things we should start to break out in a panel, we'd love it. We also, on August 19th, coming up soon at 6 p.m., we have our mental health event. A lot of people are suffering isolation and depression, and frankly, the music community was already, kind of challenged based on past surveys. 71% of musicians suffer some level of mental illness, which, could be anxiety or depression, or could, go the whole spectrum. So it's important to remember we're not alone, and we're going to be having some amazing people from NAMI, Jeremy Wilson Foundation, and others that are both going to talk about the resources that are available, but also the insights that they've been coming up and working through as people from the music community are tapping them. There are some consistent themes that are coming up, and they're going to be able to talk to those. So even if you're one of those people that is afraid to maybe pursue help for yourself, you can use it. You can use it to hear some good and hopefully useful information to help you navigate these hard times. There are tons of performing artists. There's something like 30,000, based on CD Baby's reports, of performing or recording musical artists in the Portland metro area. There are 700 music businesses. We currently have, and I know Matt before the call was like, I did mine. There you go. But we only have 800 of our profile form. There are, if you haven't done a profile in the past year, come back in and do a new one. We'll match all the data, but we changed forms. This is not something you're going to have to continue to do, but we want to get everybody moved off the old form to the new form. And anybody who's listening, we've made sure that during COVID, we make all of our stuff available to everybody without doing anything. But if you like what we're doing and want to support what we do, the best thing you can do is to spend, 2.5, 3 minutes to answer a few questions so that we can represent you properly. Like right now, if you fill out a profile and you skip the race question, I'm not going to contact you to give you advance notice of when that BIPOC artist application goes up. If you don't help me understand the other limited things that we talk about, what's your zip code? I can't map our music ecosystem. And all of this stuff really helps in advocacy and in our access to funding, because they say, well, how many members do you have? and we say we have this many free members, this many paid members, and there is no obligation to pay. We'd love it if you did. And if you do, becoming a contributing member that you can be for as little as $4 a month is better than doing a donation, because it makes you a member, and we're a member organization. So those things count. So yeah, come on, join the party. And we want to make sure we know who's in the area, who's in the business, who's doing it. Yeah, I'm seeing like one answer per. Why don't we shut down that poll, Austin? I guess people are all okay. I'm going to assume everybody's great. We're going to have some kind of a volunteer orientation event at the end of August. There are a lot of projects that I think we're sort of putting out to that point, but we would love to have you go onto the website, fill out a volunteer form if you're interested in getting involved, and give us as much detail as you can about, what you're good at. Do you love detail work? Are you an extrovert and you like to talk to people, or, any sort of skills that you can let us know about it? It'll help us to kind of see what we have. And then we'll invite you to the orientation meeting. And we'll have a bunch of different project areas that we'd love to have some help with. And yeah, people have been incredibly lovely and generous in saying that they want to help. And the challenge for us has been, how do we create projects that somebody can come in and just run with? And we're getting better at that. So one of them is going to be a directory that we've been noodling around on, because we've determined that the lack of transparency and access to our music ecology is an old boy network. And we want to make sure that in a directory, things are transparent. And if a business is BIPOC or LGBTQ plus or women owned, that you can filter on that. People are increasingly wanting to shop based on values and based on, sort of recent transformations in this moment that I think has reminded all of us that we need to be in this every day, like people of color are. So buying on your values is only possible if you have a directory that makes it clear and easy to access. So if you're interested in volunteering on that specifically, definitely sign up to volunteer and note it, and then we'll get you in the meeting later this month. All right. Let me see. I swear, I'm so close to being done. So we are part of a national pilot program of 16 US music cities and 2 international music cities. The pilot program is called REVS. It's Reopen Every Venue Safely. We have maybe some of the other people in the group on the call. I hope they all come into the breakout, because this REVS program is really picking up. It is trying to work through the safety protocols and the health protocols that are going to be required at every stage of reopening. And the challenge for venues, whether you're a primary venue that is a bar or restaurant that pre-COVID had music, 6 nights a week, and it's a big part of their business. It's why people have been going to them. And, from that to a dedicated venue that can't even turn on the lights if they don't get 60 or 70% capacity. We want to make sure that the health department, who currently monitors bars and restaurants, they've got a whole list of rules for that to keep patrons and staff safe. And then they've got a whole thing about events. And none of it really addresses throwing a musician in the corner, or worse still, it doesn't address a small patio with people unmasked as they ate with a 6-piece brass band blowing air like a rocket engine out at them. The worst thing that's going to happen is if we don't stand together and create appropriate protocols and do a little bit of self-policing. It's not good for there to be an incident that can be tracked back to music, because it'll push back the reintroduction of music by months, because the fans won't come back, because they'll remember this story of, oh my God, there was that thing, and the musician got everybody sick. So we want to be the ones on top of this. We want to show that the music industry is committed to safety, so that as soon as we can start to reassemble. And to that end, in the REVS process, We have set up, and we've talked about it maybe before, but we are now going to close it on August 8th. And I want to make sure people understand why it matters. We've got, Austin will post it in the chat, but we've got a musician perception, or we want to hear from you what you're feeling. Under what circumstances do you feel comfortable performing before there's a vaccine and after there's a vaccine? And the reason we need this is that because we started to do it, the entire national and international pilot REVS program, all of the other cities are going to have their musicians fill it out too, so we can start to look and compare about differences in places. What is uniquely Portland? What does any policy that we're introducing, how does it reflect a music, a performer-centric sort of a model? Obviously, we want to keep fans safe, we want to keep staff safe, but to date, nobody is thinking about the performers, and it's a little hard to without hearing from you. So it's 5 questions. It takes a minute. The link is there in the chat. And I don't know if the chat is available to the Facebook and Instagram people, so I will say it. It's also posted on our pages for Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So it's bit.ly/safe to perform in capital case. So capital S, capital T, capital P. Please take a minute and then share it out and ask other people to do it. Make a profile if you haven't yet. It really matters, because then we can say all these folks are engaged, they've raised their hands, they are part of this industry, because we want to be bringing increasing benefits to everybody. And at this point, we can get benefits to people that have raised their hand and told us they're here. Oh, good. Yeah, so they're posting it on Facebook as well. So that is the big, speedy spoken update about Music Portland. Austin, were there any questions that came from folks? He's muted.
No, there were not.
No questions?
Zero.
People usually jump right in and do the stuff. Okay, well, with no further ado, oh wait, there's one.
I was gonna say somebody had one.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh.
Do you see it, Austin? Oh, look, there's a whole bunch of them.
They're coming. There's like 3 of them that just jumped through.
Yeah, let's bang those out before we toss over to Matt.
I'm gonna go grab a fan. I'll be right back.
Okay, do it. Okay, let's see. Are there any science or medicine-based studies on this keeping the musicians safe? A lot of it is just sort of practical. I just keep on hearing about bars that are like, oh yeah, we're going to throw a musician in the corner, and they're right there next to the kitchen with staff walking by, sometimes masked, sometimes not. They can't move. So I think there are a lot of just, basic common sense things, but that nobody is thinking about the musicians. So we ask in the survey, are you comfortable with a well-crafted outdoor event? Where there's clear separation protocols and, risk monitors and, whatever else. Or are you comfortable playing indoors before a vaccine? And so we're getting that data, and then the Musicians Union is putting it together into some cool graphical representations that we're excited, because it's going to be talking about, here's the whole country, here's what it looks like in southern states, here's what it looks like here, here's what it looks like in Portland, so that when we're crafting policy, we know it is specific to what musicians need, but we need your voice in the mix. Let's see, are there other things? Am I seeing questions you don't see, Austin?
Nope, you can see everything.
Okay. Yeah, supporting venues now. We have Austin, you can grab the link. There's a save, I think it's called savemusicportland.org/save venues, or venue support. Austin, and we'll post it up there and say it out loud so Malachy can post it for Facebook and Instagram. it gives a whole list of all these venues that you can buy food from, that you can buy merch from, that you can buy, you know, advanced credit that you can use on future tickets. There are all kinds of interesting ways that venues are doing it. If a venue is sponsoring a live stream, make sure you support them. You know, Alberta Rose has had a very long running series. If, you know, Kelly's Olympian does something, you know, make sure that you're keeping an eye out for it and supporting them in those things, because they're all trying to figure out how to pivot to make it through this time, where they're continuing to say, we're not going to open because it isn't safe. It's also not economically viable, but it's mostly not safe. Let's make sure that we are leaders in protecting our performers, staff, and audience. So go to that page, check it out. And in the breakout session, I believe there'll be some venues in the room. And, you know, it'd be great if you meet one, ask them what you can do. Let's see, we're looking through things. Guitar Girl just sent a question. Oh, like, see, there's some in Q&A too. Guitar Girl asks, I never heard if I qualified for the PUA, just that they received my info. So yeah, here, so they have said now that if you've got some kind of acknowledgement of your first PUA application, that you shouldn't put your thing into the new system. I say screw it. Just go ahead. Go into the new system, and if you want Guitar Girl, just get back to me. You know, drop a note to info@MusicPortland, and I will get you the phone number that is specific to those that, if you want to stay out of the new system, you can do a phone call. But I say just put everything in there. And if it overlaps with some piece of paper they have in a pile somewhere, so what? So let me know. We can talk more about it, or come into the breakout, and I'm happy to talk a little more. Oh, is it? Apparently my vibrating phone is not alluring. Who knew? So I'm gonna stop talking now. I want to hear what Matt can tell us about his amazing program, and it's all you, man.
Okay. Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank MusicPortland for having me. Great to speak with you again, Mira. And yeah, pretty much I had this plan. I've always wanted to give back to my neighborhood. You know, I'm a musician myself. I started making music at this house that was located across the street from this park that's called George Park, and it's in St. John's. So basically, I just wanted, you know, everything I do is like pretty much about the area and about family and about, you know, growth and everything like that. So I wanted to throw a music festival there. So I was just kicking around ideas of throwing like an event at this park and what I need to do. So I reached out to my partner, Donovan from Gentrification is Weird. He's been a great partner of mine from the past. We've worked together numerous times, and I figured he'd be a great person to reach out and co-head this with me. Pretty much, you know, we came up with the idea of recruiting artists that are from the neighborhood. I don't want to announce the lineup yet because obviously we didn't get to do it, and I want it to be a surprise. So basically we'll have like a music segment, and then Donovan kind of brought things a little bit further and just kind of talking about how St. John's is being gentrified now very heavily. It looks nothing like when I grew up. You know, it's totally different. And I actually kind of live back in the area, and it's totally different, completely changed now. You know, so he's going to speak on that aspect. We're going to have things for the kids to do, just all around the event. So pretty much it was just to raise awareness for the neighborhood, and I also want to fix up the park at some point, you know. So, you know, by bringing an event and bringing music artists from that area and bringing the community together, hopefully it'll transpire into let's build this park up now, because there's a lot more kids in the neighborhood. So we're going to call it Kids in the Park, and hopefully we'll be able to launch it off next year or whenever COVID is finally gone.
That's amazing. So it's, I keep on thinking about how music has always been at the center of, you know, any kind of change in our society. And it's also that positive glue that holds communities together. And what I
Yeah,
love about your project is it's the perfect intersection of place, community, and then drawn together with music.
yeah,
We're kind of some kind of glue. And,
yeah.
this is a moment when anybody out there, like, I mean, look at what they just looked and said, ooh, that needs to happen. And that's a totally Portland impulse. DIY activism is such a cool part of what we do.
Right.
Have you heard of any other cool, like, just ideas or organic projects that people are thinking about or we're planning? Like, just who's doing cool stuff that you've been hearing about?
To be honest, I haven't heard much. I've been going like pretty much. I've been on a personal project of trying to uh, fix my grandmother's house. I've
Yeah,
been on like a personal journey of like trying to save the house from being torn down and because it's
yeah,
in bad shape. So I haven't, to be honest, I haven't even gotten to make music as of late. This last month, I've been kind of like so focused on life, and I lost my job due to COVID, so I'm trying to find work now, and so it's like real life got in the way, you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And I had plans, I had plans. I had wrote a short film that I was gonna film and release this fall, but we couldn't do it because of COVID, and it had like a cast and everything like
Wow.
that. So that's kind of on the back burner. As
Yeah.
far as things that I know personally, what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the focus this week is, obviously hip hop week, and not this week, next week, end of next week.
I,
Um,
I happened to be a part of Hip Hop Week last year.
yeah.
This was great.
Yeah. No, it's an incredibly joyful thing. It's just the events, like certainly my first outdoor hip hop shows were there, and you just see little kids
Yep.
and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just joyful.
I
You
got.
know?
We performed at Cathedral Park, and
Yeah.
and it's funny because I'm from St. John, so and my grandma is actually the same age as the St. John's Bridge. So like people know her, they call her like Bridge Lady and stuff. So it's just like it was an amazing moment for me, not only for that, and then my son was there running around, and he started running up on the stage, and there was a moment actually where he jumped into my arms, and I was performing with my son in my arms the whole time, and like people like really got a kick out of that, and he brings it up still. And so,
Yeah.
it's like it was a 2-for-1. I could have
Yeah.
cried. I could have
Yeah.
cried, honestly.
Did you cry on stage, Matt?
Nah, I waited until I got in the car.
You kept it. Okay.
I got in the car. I waited about it, when I think about it.
Yeah. Well, I would like in the breakout session, I'd love to hear from folks that like, if you've heard of other things like this that are just people doing the right thing with music
Yeah.
at the heart.
See, I want to do a quarantine show. I've been seeing Roseland have been having people stream and doing
Hmm.
quarantine sets. I've been trying to like find a place where I could do this because I don't feel like my house would be like a good setup to do like a proper quarantine set. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing if there's opportunities for that. You know, because I haven't performed in so long.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in getting back into that and keeping staying sharp.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the challenges I think I've seen in like hip hop music is that when you do it in a big empty room, you got all that, it's just bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would love to know if there are venues in this call or that join in the breakout that
Right.
have ideas, maybe a smaller venue. I mean, I think Kelly's would probably be great
Yeah.
if you could work with them, and they're
That'd be great.
they're
If they're
such good
willing,
eggs. Yeah.
I'm willing. It's been a while. I'm itching to do it. I have a lot of new music that people haven't heard, and I feel like it'd be a great way to debut new music, and people are paying attention online, home. So I think that'd be a good look.
Yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, I just when we were talking with Donovan about this thing in St. John's, we got really like that's the heart of it. And
Yeah.
I think, when everybody, and particularly people that don't know anything about the hip hop community in town, when they start to, or any, basically Black musicians, and they start seeing that they're actually agents of this incredible creation, you start to whittle away at people's bias and whatever else, because they're like, oh no, actually that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Myself included. It's just about exposure, and that's what actually I hope a lot of people go to Hip Hop Week and just go to the events and check them out and look online and participate however you're comfortable, but just come to understand it's an incredible culture here, and one that is absolutely worth getting to know and supporting.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, I think we could probably, does anybody have any other questions for Matt or for me before we click over to the breakouts? Anybody? Ask a hard question of Matt, really hard.
I haven't even broke a sweat yet. I was expecting to.
Wow. Oh, look, I just figured out what to click to see who's here. Yeah, we've got all kinds of folks. Casey Neal, make sure that you join in the breakout, because let's spin some ideas about protest songs. And yeah.
I just put one out too called Discipline. So people.
Really?
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, do. Let's put, we can put a link in the breakout room, or we can put a link in here.
Sure. You find it.
Oh, so many good faces. Yeah, we got Bruce Fife, Musicians Union. I hope you're joining us in the breakout. We'd love to have you in the conversation. I think that's it for us. We can break out a little early here.
Oh, I see one. Somebody asked if
you do
outdoor events. I see that. I think, what was it? Guitar Girl? Am I doing any outdoor events right now? No, I wish. I want to.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah, there's some interesting groups that are doing, there's like the Porch series, there's Andre Middleton, they're doing some cool outdoor programming and trying to just make it as safe as possible, accessible to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
fun.
yeah, I would like check with Andre, because he, I don't know who all he's having in his thing, but also Mike Crenshaw, I think, is coordinating the acts for the Porch sessions. So talk with him and see if you want to get out and perform a little bit, there are a couple of ways to do it. So let's, let me see. Nope. 2 new messages before we drop away. Oh, Blue Diamond has an outdoor area now. That's really interesting. Thank you, Guitar Girl. That's a pretty cool addition. Blue Diamond is at 21st and Sandy.
Oh.
It's like this little tiny hole in the wall. Incredible.
Those are the
R&B.
best.
Just amazing R&B consistently there.
I love small venues.
Yeah. And that's what we're famous for. Okay, let's break out. Austin, why don't you put into the chat the link to get into the breakout session. And it's the same password, PDX, when they ask you for a password. And yeah, we'll get in there and then see what people feel like talking about. Any of the stuff, either Matt or I have talked about, or tell us your best new cocktail recipes. That's what I always look for. Or a milkshake. Ooh, milkshake.
A whole lot of home drinking, huh?
Well, yes and no. Sometimes you're like, nah, this is just sad. I'm just gonna, drink some more water or something. Yeah, it's interesting. Actually, one of the first Monday conversations that we're thinking about having is looking at the connection between alcohol and music. There's all this talk about all ages, inaccessibility. Then you say they need to, charge a bunch of money, to make all their money from alcohol. Is that true? Is that really the only way that we can make music in this town?
Man, it seems like that bar, the bar split and everything like that, and at the door, it's been a thing. It's been a struggle that we've faced as hip hop musicians. Kind of hope to walk away with $50 a show. Like, that's, to be honest, like, that's where I kind of get, because with me, the way I am, I split half 50-50 with my DJ. Mm-hmm. So, just out of respect, like, he's taking time out of his day. So whatever I make, he gets half of that.
Yeah.
because there's no me without my DJ controlling my music. So
Sure.
yeah, you just hope to get $50 a piece.
Yeah. So Bruce Fife, who I mentioned, that runs Fair Trade Music, they really zero in on, on pay, living wage for musicians.
Yeah.
And so
Boosting.
see if we can connect you in the breakout and get
I
you in
need
a
to
small
do it.
room together. Cause I think
Right now.
it's a really interesting conversation, and maybe we'll just have Fair Trade Music come in and talk about
Yeah.
what they had done and all of that. So honestly, I'm gonna stop talking now, and we're gonna go. Malachi and Austin have both put into the chat the breakout link. The password is PDX, same as before, all caps. And I will hang here for a minute as people, or should I go over, Austin, and then you stay here just for a minute as people?
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to end this webinar before we can
Are
begin
we?
the breakout.
Okay.
So we're gonna cut it
Okay.
now.
Right now, there.
Then that's the thing. We will see you all on the chatty side.
All right.